Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read 2 Samuel 4 to 9, Proverbs 18, and Psalm 116. Let's get started. When Ishbosheth, Saul's son, heard that Abner died at Hebron, his courage failed, and all Israel was dismayed. Now Saul's son had 2 men who were captains of raiding bands. The name of the one was Banner, and the name of the other Rechab, sons of Rimmon, a man from Benjamin, from Beeroth. Jonathan, the son of Saul, had a son who was crippled in his feet. He was 5 years old when the news about Saul and Jonathan came from Jezreel, and his nurse took him up and fled. And as she fled in the haste, he fell and became lame. And his name was Mephibosheth. Now the sons of Rimmon the Beerothite, Rechab and Banner, said, and about this heat of the day, they came to the house of Ishbosheth as he was taking his noonday rest. They came into the midst of the house as if to get leave, and they stabbed him in the stomach. Then Rechab and Banner, his brother, escaped. And they came into the house, as he lay in his bed in the bedroom, they struck him and put him to death, and beheaded him. They took his head and went by the way of the Arabah all night, and brought the head of Ishbosheth to David at Hebron. And they said to the king, here's the head of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, your enemy, who sought your life. The Lord has avenged my lord the king on this day on Saul and on his offspring. And David answered Rechab and Banner, his brother, the sons of Rimmon the Beerothite, and as the Lord lives, who has redeemed my life out of every adversity. When one told, behold, Saul was dead, and though he was bringing good news, I seized him and killed him at Ziklag, which was the reward I gave him for his news. And how much more, when a wicked man had killed a righteous man in his own house on his bed, how shall I not now require his blood in your hand and destroy you from the earth? And David commanded his young men, and they killed them and cut off their hands and feet and hanged them beside the pool at Hebron. And they took the hand of Ishbosheth and buried it in the tomb of Abner at Hebron. And all the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron and said, behold, we are your bone and flesh. In times past, when Saul was king over us, it was you who led out and brought in Israel. And the Lord said to you, you shall be shepherd of my people Israel, and you shall be prince over Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to my king at Hebron, and King David made a covenant with them at Hebron before the Lord. And they anointed David king of Israel. David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years. And he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months. And at Jerusalem he reigned over all Judah and Israel and Judah 33 years. And the king and his men went to Jerusalem, because the Jebusites, the inhabitants of it, who said to David, you will not come in here, but the lion and the lame will ward you off, thinking, David cannot come in here. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, that is, the city of David. And David said on that day, whoever would strike the Jebusites, let him get up the water shaft to attack the lame and the blind, who are hated by David's soul. Therefore it is said, the blind and the lame shall not come into the house. And David lived in the stronghold and called it the city of David. And David built the city all around the millow in wood. And David became greater and greater, for the Lord, the God of hosts, was with him. And Hiram king of Tyre sent messengers to David, and set of trees, those who carpenters and masons who built David a house. And David knew that the Lord had established him king over Israel, and that he had exalted his kingdom for the sake of his people Israel. And David took more concubines and wives from Jerusalem, after he came from Hebron, and more sons and daughters were born to David. And these are the names of those who were born to him in Jerusalem: Shammua, Shobab, Nathan, Solomon, Ibhar, Elishua, Nepheg, Japhia, Elishama, Eliada, and Eliphalet. And the Philistines heard that David had been anointed king over Israel. And all of the Philistines went up to search for David. But David heard of it and went down to the stronghold. Now the Philistines had come and spread out in the valley of Rephaim. And David inquired of the Lord, shall I go up against the Philistines? Will you give them into my hand? And the Lord said to David, go up, for I will certainly give the Philistines into your hand. And David came to Baal-perazim, and David defeated them there. And he said, the Lord is breaking through my enemies before me like a breaking flood. Therefore the name of that place is called Baal-perazim. And the Philistines left their idols there, and David and his men carried them away. And the Philistines came out yet again and spread out in the valley of Rephaim. And when David inquired of the Lord, he said, you shall not go. Go around to the rear and come to from the tops of the against them opposite the balsam trees. When you hear the sound of marching at the tops of the balsam trees, then mount yourself, for then the Lord has gone out before you to strike down the army of the Philistines. And David did as the Lord commanded him, and struck down the Philistines from Geba to Gezer. David again gathered all the chosen men of Israel, 30,000. And David arose and went with all the people who were with him from Baal of Judah to bring up from there the ark of God, which is called by the name of the Lord, the host who sits enthroned on the cherubim. And they carried the ark of God on a new cart and brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill. And Uzzah and Ahio, the sons of Abinadab, were driving the new cart with the ark of God. And Ahio went before the ark. And David and all the house of Israel were celebrating before the Lord with songs and lyres and harps and tambourines and castanets and cymbals. And when they came to the threshing floor of Nacon, Uzzah put out his hand to the ark of God and took hold of it, for the oxen stumbled. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and God struck him down there because of his error, and he died there beside the ark of God. And David was angry because the Lord had broken out against Uzzah, and that place is called Perez Uzzah to this day. And David was afraid of the Lord that day. And he said, How can the ark of the Lord come to me? So David was not willing to take the ark of the Lord into the city of David. And David took it aside to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. And the ark of the Lord remained in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 months. And the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and all his household. And it was told King David, The Lord has blessed the household of Obed-Edom and all that belongs to him, because of the ark of God. So David went and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David with rejoicing. And when those who bore the ark of the Lord had gone 6 steps, he sacrificed an ox and a fattened animal. And David danced before the Lord with all his might. And David was wearing a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the horn. And as the ark of the Lord came into the city of David, Michal, the daughter of Saul, looked out of the window and saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord. And she despised him in her heart. And they brought in the ark of the Lord and set it in its place, inside the tent that David had pitched for it. And David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. And when David had finished offering the burnt offerings and the peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts, and distributed among all the people, the whole multitude of Israel, both men and women, a cake of bread, a portion of meat, and a cake of raisins to each one. Then all the people departed, each to his house. And David returned to bless his household. But Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, How the king of Israel honored himself today, uncovering himself today before the eyes of his servants, female servants, as one of the vulgar fellows shamefully uncovers himself. And David said to Michal, It was before the Lord who chose me above his father and above all his house, to appoint me as prince of Israel, the people of the Lord, and I will celebrate before the Lord. I will make myself yet more contemptible than this, and I will be abased in your eyes. But by the female servants of whom you have spoken, then by them shall I be held in honor. And Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no child to the day of her death. Now when the king lived in his house, and the Lord had given him rest from all the surrounding enemies, the king said to Nathan the prophet, See now, I dwell in the house of Sarah, that the ark of God dwells in the tent. And Nathan said to the king, Go, do all that is in your heart, for the Lord is with you. And that same night the word of the Lord came to Nathan, Go and tell my servant David, Thus says the Lord, Will you build me a house to dwell in? I have not lived in a house since the day I brought up the people of Israel from Egypt to this day, for I have been moving about in a tent from my dwelling. In all places where I have moved with all the people of Israel, did I speak a word with any of the judges of Israel, whom I commanded to shepherd my people Israel, saying, Why have you not built me a house of cedar? Now therefore, thus you shall say to my servant David, Thus says the Lord of hosts, I took you from the pasture. From following the sheep, and now you should be prince over my people Israel. Over my people Israel. I have been with you, and I have been with you wherever you went, and I have cut off all your enemies from before you, and I will make for you a great name, like the name of the great ones on the earth. And I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, so that they may dwell in their own place, and be distributed no more. And violent men shall afflict them no more, as formerly, from the time that I appointed judges over my people Israel. And I will give you rest from all your enemies. Moreover, the Lord declares to you that the Lord will make you a house. When your days are fulfilled, and you lie down with your fathers, I will raise up your offspring after you, who shall come from your body, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. When he commits iniquity, I will discipline him with the rod of men, with the stripes of the sons of men. And my steadfast love will not depart from it, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away from before you. And your house and your kingdom shall be made sure forever before me. The throne shall be established forever. In accordance with all these words, and in accordance with all this vision, Nathan spoke to David. When King David went in and sat before the Lord and said, Who am I, O Lord God, and what is my house that you have brought me thus far? And yet this was a small thing in your eyes, O Lord God. Yet spoken I serve your servant's house for a great while to come. And this is instruction from mankind, O Lord God. And what more can David say to you? For you know your servant, O Lord God, because of your promise, and according to your own heart, you have brought about all of this greatness, to make his servant know it. Therefore you are great, O Lord God, for there is none like you, and there is no God beside you, according to all that we have heard without ears. And who is like your people, Israel, the one nation on earth whom God wanted to redeem to be his people, making himself a name, and doing the great and awesome things by driving out before your people, whom you redeemed for yourself from Egypt, a nation and its gods. And you established for yourself your people, Israel, to be your people forever. And you, O Lord, became their God. And now, O Lord God, confirm forever the word that you have spoken concerning your servant and concerning his house. And do as you have spoken, and your name will be magnified forever, saying, The Lord of hosts is God over Israel, and the house of your servant David will be established before you. For you, O Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have made this revelation to your servant, saying, I will build you a house. Therefore your servant has found courage to pray this prayer and promise to you. And now, Lord God, you are God, and your words are true, and you promise this good thing to your servant. Now therefore, may it please you to bless the house of your servant, so that it may continue forever before you. For you, O Lord God, have spoken, and with your blessing shall the house of your servant be blessed forever. After this, David defeated the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Metheg-Gamma out of the hand of the Philistines. And he defeated Moab, and he merged them with the lion, making them lie down on the ground. 2 lions he measured to be put to death, and one for the lion to be spared. And the Moabites became servants to David and brought tribute. David also defeated Hadadezer, the son of Rehob, king of Syria, as he went to restore his power at the river Euphrates. And David took from him 17,000 horsemen and 200,000 foot soldiers. And David hamstrung all the chariot horses, but left enough for 100 chariots. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to help Hadadezer, king of Syria, David struck down the 22,000 men of the Syrians. And David put garrisons in Aram of Damascus, and the Syrians became servants to David, and he brought tribute. And the Lord gave victory to David wherever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were carried by the servants of Hadadezer and brought them to Jerusalem. And from Betah and from Berothai, cities of Hadadezer, King David took very much bronze. And Toy, king of Hamath, heard that David had defeated the whole army of Hadadezer. Toy sent his son Joram to King David to ask about his health and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and defeated him. For Hadadezer had often been at war with Toy. And Joram brought with him articles of gold and of bronze. These also King David dedicated to him, together with silver and with silver and gold that he dedicated from all the nations that he subdued, from Edom, Moab, the Ammonites, the Philistines, Amalek, and from the spoil of Hadadezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah. And David made a name for himself when he returned from striking down 18,000 Edomites in the valley of Saul. And he put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom he put garrisons, and all the Edomites became David's servants. And the Lord gave victory to David wherever he went. So David reigned over all Israel, and David administered justice and equity to all his people. Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the army, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilah was recorder, and Zadok the son of Ahitub and Ahimelech the son of Abiathar were priests, and Seraiah was secretary, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over the Cherethites and the Pelethites, and David's sons were priests. And then David said, Is there still anyone left of the house of Saul? And let me show him kindness for Jonathan's sake, Now there was a servant of the house of Saul whose name was Ziba, and they called him to David. And the king said to him, Are you Ziba? He said, I am your servant. And the king said, Is there not still someone of the house of Saul, that I may show the kindness of God to them? Ziba said to the king, There is still a son of Jonathan. He is crippled in his feet. The king said to him, Where is he? And Ziba said to the king, He is in the house of Machir the son of Ammiel. Then King David sent and brought him from the house of Machir the son of Ammiel at Lo-debar. And Mephibosheth the son of Jonathan son of Saul came to David and fell on his face and paid homage. And David said, Mephibosheth. And he answered, Behold, I am your servant. And David said to him, Do not fear, but I will show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. And I will restore to you all the land of Saul your father. And you shall eat at my table always. And he paid homage and said, What is your servant, that you should show regard for a dead dog such as I? And the king called Ziba, Saul's servant, and said to him, All that belonged to Saul and to all his house I have given to your master's grandson. And to you and your sons and your servants you shall till the land for him, and shall bring in the produce your master's grandson gave bread to you. But Mephibosheth, your master's grandson, shall always eat at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. And Ziba said to the king, According to all that my lord the king commanded, so will your servant do. So Mephibosheth ate at David's table, like one of the king's sons. And Mephibosheth had a young son, whose name was Micah, and all who lived in Ziba's house became Mephibosheth's servants. So Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem, for he ate always at the king's table. Now he was lame in both his feet. Proverbs 17. Proverbs 18. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire, but he breaks out against all sound judgment. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. But when wickedness comes, contempt comes also, and with dishonor comes disgrace. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. It is not good to be partial to the wicked, or to deprive the righteous of justice. A fool's lips walk into a fire, and his mouth invites a beating. A fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. And the words of a whisperer are like a delicious morsel. They go down into the inner parts of the body. Whoever is slack at his work is above the tamer who destroys. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. A righteous man runs into it and is safe. A rich man's wealth is a strong city, and like a high wall in his imagination. Before destruction, a man's heart is holy, but humility comes before honor. If one gives an answer before he hears, it is his folly and shame. The vain spirit will endure sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear? An intelligent heart acquires knowledge, but the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. The man's gift makes room for him, and brings him before the great. The one who states his case first seems right, until the other comes and examines him. And the Lord puts an end to quarrels, and decides between powerful contenders. A brother friend is more unyielding than a strong city, and quarreling is like the bars of the castle. With the fruit of a man's mouth, his stomach is satisfied. He is satisfied by the yield of his lips. Death and life are in the power of his tongue, and those who love him will eat his fruits. He finds a wife, finds a good thing, and he obtains favor from them. The whole use entreaty, but the rich answer often. The men of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Psalm 116. I love the Lord, because he has heard my voice and my pleas for mercy, because he has inclined his ear to me. Therefore I will call on him as long as I live. The snares of death encompass me, the pangs of Sheol laid hold on me. I suffer distress and anguish. Then I called on the name of the Lord. O Lord, I pray, deliver my soul. Gracious is the Lord, and righteous. Our God is merciful, and the Lord preserves the simple. When I was brought low, he saved me. Return my soul to your rest. For the Lord has dealt bountifully with you. For you have delivered my soul from death, my eyes from tears, my feet from stumbling. I will walk before the Lord in the land of the living. I believe, even when I spoke, I am greatly afflicted. I said in my alarm, all mankind are liars. What shall I render to the Lord for all his benefits to me? I will lift up the cup of salvation and call on the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people. Precious is the sigh of the Lord, is the death. Precious in the sigh of the Lord is the death of his saints. And Lord, I am your servant, the son of your maid servant. You have loosed my bonds. I will offer to you the sacrifice of thanksgiving, and call on the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people, in the courts of the house of the Lord, in your midst of Jerusalem. Praise the Lord. Now the Son, I should now do the Lord's prayer. Please bow your heads. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, You be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as you forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.